Hi, Jessica.
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. So to start, I really love the most recent episode that came out where we got to spend the most time with the younger versions of these characters and kind of see their dynamic with one another. While, when you're filming, you're not thinking about the other kind of side of things. How has it been kind of seeing the response to an episode like that and seeing fans get excited to see what these sisters were like when they were younger?
Well, I don't see anything. I don't see any response to anything. I don't see any of it anymore. I don't know why. No, I'm so boring. Like I have a kid. Like I'm about to have another kid. Like so my life is like so I remember after the first episode came out, me and Emma, who plays younger Tula, like we did another kind of morning like this, and everyone was like, "So what was the reaction like?" I was like, "None. Like there's no reaction. Like it's always incredible. Like even you guys like think that we're like living somewhere, and people are like great episode. You're like no one says it. My mom hasn't even seen the show. Okay, like my mom hasn't seen the show. Um, no, I think one of my agents only just watched like the first episode. No one gives a shit anymore, honestly. Like no matter how much they care about the show, it's like you gotta understand, like, I've been doing this for so long, like fuck. I'm like a giant fan of this show, but as much as you try, you're just like, holy shit, I have to go to Gelson's and like buy dinner, you know? But obviously, I'm so like I loved the idea of the episode. I was like, we're so lucky because
Mm.
we get to do something within this whole type of show that HBO does. Like they obviously do things on like such a huge scale now, but this one was like totally stripped back. It was like an indie movie inside the series, you know.
Mhm.
And I remember telling the girls that like we were so lucky that we got to do this because it was always going to stand out and it was always going to look different and feel different. And we were so lucky because those sets were real and the snow was real. Like we weren't as cool as those sets were in the studios. Like everything was real. Like very few things were done in post production and CGI'd. Um, and it was very contained. I loved working with Richard, the director, and I loved sharing the role with Emily. I loved our conversations that we would have, but it was really great to feel like that just belonged to us, you know?
Yeah, that was the most real answer I've ever gotten to like how's the reaction been? You're like, I don't know, like I'm
Not
just
like,
grateful.
mate, no one says shit to you. Like,
That was
there's
so
no,
good.
you know that there are people, you know, where do you live in LA?
I'm in New York.
You know
People
that like
really ignore you here in New York.
totally, like you're just no one gives a shit. Like you know that there are people like they win Oscars and then the next day they're like my life was completely like the most depressing day of my life because like no everybody thinks that somebody else is calling you, so no one calls you. You know,
Mhm.
no one
So
says
funny.
anything ever. No one says anything. If it no,
Now the guy at the deli is gonna 100% say something to you when you go to the
I live in
grocery.
LA. There's no deli. That's the other thing. Like there's no one. When I'm in New York, people will when I go to New York, as soon as you leave LA, you go somewhere and you're like, oh yeah, I'm like vaguely known as being on the TV because like no one says shit here. Like people would die. Like Meryl Streep would walk in somewhere and people would rather like die on their own excitement than be like, oh my God, like I'm such a huge fan. Like you're amazing. Like no, everyone's too cool here. And then you go to anywhere else, like even New York, where people like genuinely are cool, and people will be like, "Oh my God, I love your show," and I'm like, "What? Oh yeah, like I'm on TV," because like you just don't. There's none of that here.
We do a lot of
Nothing.
nods here. We do a lot of like, we'll see someone we know that from something, we just like nod at them and acknowledge that we like the thing that they were in. So
No,
you don't
it's
get
so
the verbal
nice.
thing.
It's genuinely so nice, though. It's obviously so nice to communicate with strangers, and that just like does not happen here. Like there's no communication in any way.
Oh, well, I wish people would talk to you about this episode because I love it a lot. And I think what I think is so cool is like you get to kind of see the very real differences between these two sisters because one is kind of like dealing with this romance while the other sister is learning she can control people to do what she wants. I
Yeah,
love this. She tells her friends to slap the other one because I'm like, this is her first like gut instinct in that moment isn't
I
like, oh, I can
know.
show you this
So
by
right.
holding hands. It's slap your friend.
And then she like doesn't understand why she's like kind of lonely as well. Like she's not a good person. Like it's not great. She's fully we need to talk about Valia. Like she's
I was
not okay.
like, slap them. How does something like that though really help you with a character? Because it's like when you read it on the script, like when you read a script and you recognize like, okay, well, most people would think I can show this skill in a like nicer way. She chooses violence against people who she is quote unquote close to.
By that point in what I'd read, I was like, this is just kind of like the surface, really. But I mean, it's kind of the constant conversation that everybody has about this character. Like, is she actually evil? Like, what is it? Like, is it nature over nurture? Like, it's the constant conversation that you have about Harkonnens, where,
Mm-hmm.
like, what are they actually these, like, crazy, like, power hungry people for just generations? Like, what is it? Like, they're just fucking bad guys. And like, what is the reason for it? And like, how are they like, but values misunderstood and like, but you can kind of see a way into how she is, because her family just like don't understand her. Like, they don't want to understand her. The one person who tries to see her is, you know, for want of a better word, like the head teacher of her school. So it just creates like a competitive environment for her. She just is missed all the time. And then you end up with like a very like icy, like hard person, which is a story that we see like a million times. You know, it's like we always see these characters. Um, but obviously she has so much power as well, which is just kind of dangerous. I
Yeah.
mean, no one really likes her.
Well, yeah. But how does something too, I wanted to ask, like I think the costumes, especially for the Harkonnens, are so fascinating because they're so like buttoned up and dark the entire time. And in a thing like Dune, that can really, it tells you a lot about a character and like who they are. But how does that help you as an actor to like get that in your body? Because a lot of the stuff is like up to here that you're wearing.
Yeah, and also like what is whale fur? Like I had no idea. Like what is it supposed to be like wearing a whale? Um, and you think of everybody else's costumes like in the movies, like you think about what Javier Bardem looks like, and like they're all in this like sleek like desert wear, like Loewe hybrid
You're right.
situations, like with breathing tubes. And we were just like wearing fucking whale leather, but I mean, because it's a mixture of like something very formal, but also like they've used scraps of their food to make it like there's something like very savage like about it. Um, it was very warm because it was like very cold where we were filming. I will say it was like it to a T, like perfection. Like I was not cold. It was very different than what you wear in the sisterhood.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, they why don't they just wear like jeans? Is there ever going to be any Dune character that's just like wearing the equivalent of Levi's?
It would be Josh Brolin if it was going to be anybody in Dune.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Whoa. He is so. They need to give him like a pair of like Levi's. They should
Or like
honestly
Madewell.
just give him some Levi's, and it would be incredible.
Want to see him in Madewell that has the stitching in the back that you can write whatever you want? Like I want him
That's
in a pair of
incredible. Like
those
he went to
shoes.
get them customized. That's so funny. Like he took them to the Grove to a pop-up to get them
Yeah.
customized.
This is Lisa Nalgib on the back of them, just like
That's
for
so
his first
funny.
run.
That's incredible.
Oh, I love that. For a last quick thing, I know you said no one's talking to you about the show, but it is so good and it is so fun to see Dune in this kind of uh a part of Dune that most people don't talk about because they talk about Paul Atreides. What for you has been the most exciting part of getting to tell a story that is not, what Denis is doing and what everyone is currently kind of obsessed with and telling a different kind of Dune story?
The just kind of giving a different point of view of the Atreides and Harkonnen thing was always like the most cool. And
Mhm.
having people be like, wait, because the I even people that watch the movies, like by the time I watched the second film, we'd film this. And I was watching it like I was just watching like, and also kind of being like, why doesn't no one questions any of this? Like the audiences just sit and question that the Atreides are the good guys. And I was like, you guys are getting really shocked. Like, actually, I wanted to stand up and be like, actually, you're gonna watch the show and you're gonna be like, I'm an idiot. I didn't even ask any questions. Like he really just kind of is like, and this, and this.
Mhm.
No hate on the movies, like whatever. Like you gotta cover what you want to cover, but like actually giving people like receipts and information and facts. And then sure, like make your mind like that, then it's interesting, okay? Like you can then it gets interesting, okay? Like who do you want to follow? Great, that's so interesting. Love the answer and the reason, but let's just give you guys some information first. Because they were just told this is what you believe in the movies. And ours is like the opposite. Ours is like, well, this is what we're telling you to believe in the TV show. And it's funny, like I wonder if they'll ever do like a little hybrid thing of them, even though they're 10,000 years apart. But Valya probably has her head in a jar somewhere. Like Baron probably does have her head in a jar somewhere. I wonder what he thinks about her. I wonder if he's proud.
I think he would. I think he 100% would be. And he'd be very
Hope
proud
so.
of you, in my mind, standing with a scroll of receipts in movie theaters across
Yeah,
the world, being like, here's actually what happens in Dune.
he would be really proud of the finale. Like I know it. Like somebody probably told him about it when he was a kid, and it like inspired the rest of his life.
I love it. Thank you so much for talking with me. I really appreciate it. I love the show and I can't wait for everyone to get to see the rest of the season.
Thank you so much. Have a really nice
You
day.
too. Thank you.
Bye.